Hello and a very good morning. Thanks for tuning in to News 9 Live. I'm Kabir Naqvi. Joining me here in the studio is my colleague Varghese P. Abraham, and what we're essentially up to. For those of you who join us every now and then, you know the drill. We take a look at what are the top headlines telling us English, Hindi, regional newspapers, from news coming in from down south with a keen focus on Kerala. We've got Varghese with us here in the studio, and also for all philosophical, scientific and economical news, we've got the expert sitting right next to me. Apart from that, we'll also take a look at what the social media is abuzz with, X, Instagram, viral videos, what is YouTube telling us. We'll take a look at all of that as well. Now, we have gone through the newspapers for the paucity of time and the benefit of the viewers and my colleague here. Varghese, it seems like we have an expansive list of stories to cover from, because the front page, and I was just reading here on the sports page of the Times of India, it says Neymar set for a Saudi move to Al Hilal. So after Karim Benzema, Cristiano Ronaldo, the next big thing, Neymar Jr. from Brazil, he's not going to stick around in Paris Saint-Germain anymore. The big money is calling. It's Saudi Arabia. People might call it sports washing. People might call it, all sorts of things. The fact is that all sports stars are now heading towards Saudi Arabia, be it football or golf. But apart from that, we have some top headlines that we are definitely going to be looking at. There are calls to arms against the minority, and there is another boycott against Muslims at Hindu Mahapanchayat in Palwal. So the Haryana unrest is far from dying down. We'll talk about that. Another, arms and ammunitions raid that was carried out in Manipur. Even as Independence Day, security has been tightened up in Manipur more than it has been tightened up in the national capital. It seems like that, according to the articles and all the, newspaper clippings that I've been going through since morning. A civic tragedy that took place in Maharashtra, Thane. 18 people have died.
18 people in 24 hours.
In 24 hours, 18 people have died. And this is not, an eye camp that has gone wrong. This is not a stomach camp that has gone wrong. People had ranging problems from kidney to, lung disease. 18 people dead in the last 24 hours. I mean, something fishy certainly over there. And the Chief Minister, Eknath Shinde, he's called in for a special probe. We'll talk about that. Yesterday, there was a cloudburst in Himachal Pradesh. We saw exactly how the river Beas, in its complete spate and the damage that it wreaked on the hilly states of not just Himachal Pradesh but also Uttarakhand. Again, another cloudburst in Himachal Pradesh, even as Uttarakhand is already dealing with floods of its own. And last night, the heavy rainfall in Chennai as well, Varghese. So
Chennai is also waterlogging has been reported in Chennai, and now probably we are looking at the season for northeast monsoons in Chennai. So I think that's going to be some of the things that Chennai would have to sit
something that I did pick up here. Just to introduce the topic, I was reading some well-wishers.
I saw that headline.
Well-wishers want me to go with the BJP.
Who are these well-wishers?
Senior Pawar. And the picture that they've used is of Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister, and Sharad Pawar when they were at the function
for that awards.
Yeah. Of course, 19th round of India-China border talks are going to be held today. This is after Wang Yi and our External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, they met, and this is also ahead of Prime Minister Narendra Modi going face to face with Xi Jinping at the BRICS summit in South Africa. It seems it's going to be interesting to take a look at that as well. Security has been tightened ahead of the Independence Day celebrations. Will bring you all the red flags that the agencies have now put out and what is actually being done on the ground. But first and foremost, again, coming to the unrest in Haryana, what does the front page tell us? Here in the Times of India, at Palwal, renewed call for boycott of minorities. Lawyer booked for hate speech. Dares the police. So that's the situation. It seems like we're coming back to square one. After the bulldozer action was stopped in New, after the High Court intervention, it seemed like good sense finally prevailed on the ground. But we're back to square one. Another set of boycott calls against
what gives them that
particular
strength
community.
What gives them that strength to go ahead and make such claims right in on open and public platform? And it is not that the police are also keeping quiet. They are booking even cases, Kabir, and still you have these elements coming in and making such statements blatantly.
Is this a case of not having a fear of the police anymore?
Or is the question of any consequence of law? Maybe the action when it comes to the ground needs to be more severe. Because, see, why is it that they are making this? Are they trying to, in fact, establish their influence over there so that they can stand for elections next year? Or what is the idea behind it that you make such blatant speeches despite police action? Despite police action, you have so much of, this thing happening on the ground, which is really, I mean, for me, it's been quite shocking because when I opened the first story you see is that, and here, basically, I'll just read the small report and probably you'll be able to add in as well. Hundreds of Bajrang Dal and Vishwa Hindu Parishad members joined a Mahapanchayat in Palwal on Sunday and said that they will go on a religious procession in a village in the new district later this month, less than a fortnight after the previous attempts led to communal clashes in the area.
On August 28th.
That on Friday we did that story about the resumption of
the Yatra on August 28th.
And this is again in an area which has become quite sensitive. Now, meanwhile, it is being said that the event the event attended by thousands from the right-wing Hindu groups in 3 states, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh and Rajasthan, had many attendees making hate speeches that targeted the Muslim community directly and indirectly, including by the use of Islamophobic pejorative.
Now, here's the problem. Here's the problem, Varghese. See, I'll tell you what. We know how sensitive the situation was. We've got so many, DGPs on our show from Uttar Pradesh, from Haryana as well, former DGPs, who've come and told us that the police was caught napping. They woke up too late from their deep slumber. And the fact that Monu Manesar, the sensitivity of Nu being a Muslim dominated area, Junaid and the other person who was killed, burnt alive in that, allegedly burnt alive in that car, they hailed from Nu. Again, the Yatra will start from Gurgaon, is going to follow the usual route. It says that it will start from Gurgaon, pass through Nalhar Shiv temple in Nu and culminate at the Shringar temple in the district. So, you're again taking it through Nu. You saw the videos, how social media was used to trigger, was almost weaponized in the sense that, Monu Manesar put out these videos that I'm coming to Nu, be ready for my welcome, be ready with your garlands. And that stone pelting happened, all of that happened. And now again, the Yatra is going to be carried out from the same place.
Look at the kind of statements that are coming in from those hate speeches as well. Among the demands that were made in those angry speeches were for lessons to be taught, Hindu families to be armed, and the district of Nu, where Muslims are in majority, to be dissolved and merged with others. Many of the attendees carried arms, and the turnout, estimated at 5,000, was close to 10 times the permission that was granted for the event. Now, that is the level at which we are in fact looking like. They were openly carrying arms and 5,000 people have assembled carrying arms, and a hate speech that was made. What is happening? I mean, the police are saying that they are taking booking,
I really want the viewers to get down in the comment section and, tell us what's going on inside your mind. What do you feel? What's your opinion when you read information like this? In Nu, Mahapanchayat says Yatra will resume on August 28th. We know that it's going to carry the same route. It's going to go across all the same places again. And the Mahapanchayat says it wants guns for self-defense. So already there's bloodshed on the ground. There is communal bias. People are now asking for each other's identification cards. It's straight out of a story my, grandfather would tell me about Auschwitz, how the Jews were segregated on the ground back in the day. You again have people asking for identification cards, and if you're a Hindu, you're let off. If you're a Muslim, well, pray for your stars. Gun-wielding speaker. This is the gun-wielding speaker who says, keep your blood warm. Khoon garam rakhiyega. Khoon garam rakhiyega. Police say we're looking at the speeches. So, police is just looking at the speeches.
No, see, look at this, okay. It is being said, the Palwal superintendent of police said several conditions were laid down before the event was approved, and members were asked to ensure peace and harmony. They were asked not to deliver any hate speech and not to indulge in any communal clashes. Heavy police deployment was around the venue and on the routes to keep a check on vehicular movement. Police officials later did not respond to requests for comments on the nature of speeches and threats made at the event. Though they were given a complete, kind of a restrictive aspect of how they can hold that
Demands are
meet.
being made that no district should be abolished.
That's what I was saying. I just read it. Like they want it to be dissolved and merged with neighboring districts.
So you want to basically they want Nu to stop
being No.
Stop being Nu. I want Nu to cease to exist.
Basically, that seems to be the kind of
vanish.
But how is it that hate speeches, 5,000 people have been given the permission to assemble? They were even told not to carry on with hate speeches. They carried out the hate speeches right under the nose of the police. The court, in fact, becoming very aggressive when it came to the issue about how they had gone ahead with the demolitions, even asking that heavily worded question saying that are you ethnic cleansing as well. So I think this should go back to the court and to find out what exactly is happening, because but I think peace has been restored by timely action and did not go out at all when it came to the kind of situation that we saw in many other places. The police did act on time and they tried to bring the situation under control immediately. But then again, what is the intent of these processions? What is the intent of the kind of configuration that is being looked at? Hate speeches that are being made. So it's one thing that is actually worrying. But anyway, the administration did in fact deploy a lot of police personnel, but still in that it is being said, according to this report that is there in the Hindustan Times, it said that they did make some of these demands, and that itself seems to be in a very bad situation in the sense that there's some kind of peace right now. I hope the peace prevails as of now.
Well, I strictly feel that there should be more coming in from the government of the day in the state. It is their job to make sure that both communities on the either side of the divide right now, and I'm going to clearly say it's Hindus versus Muslims. Both the government's job needs to be that they must come out and allay fears from both communities. They must prevent rumor mongering inside both communities,
and
make
on
sure
social
that,
media
communities can see each other eye to eye.
So the thing is about it, Kabir, is that in social media, when you had so much of information out there, you knew there was tension building up, no action was taken. Fine, the local administration has failed completely on that. Then you have the administration actually stepping in once the violence had started. They did curb it. That we should appreciate the fact that they did curb it immediately. And in 3-4 days,
Varghese, it seems like
but then there are these elements.
We're back to square one.
They have these elements who are in fact giving out that call. And on August 13th, that is yesterday, we have this call being given. Hindu outfits decide to resume the Braj Mandal Yatra on August 28th. So I think peace should prevail. It should be there, and the administration should be much more cautious.
Should the Yatra have altered its route and not cut across Nu? I think that is the primary question, according to me. That's all. But we have to, of course, wait and find out.
Kabir, but in this country, you have freedom of religion. I mean, you can carry out your processions. You can. It's a country of communal harmony. It's not a country where extremists are there. But here, these elements who are extreme are the ones who are creating.
Of course, on the other hand, Varghese, we were talking about how artificial intelligence and chat GPT and all these, augmented reality is going to, take over our jobs, and why just ours. People in the Silicon Valley are already, talking about it. Now you've got Hardy Sandhu, somebody like Hardy Sandhu, who's a musician. Despite concerns that cloud AI usage, Hardy Sandhu feels it's essential to embrace the changing times. AI feels like a threat to musicians like me, says Hardy Sandhu.
Oh, interestingly enough, just to add to it, yesterday I was reading an article about how, the junior actors on the sets of Hollywood films are already on strike. Now, they are saying that they are being body scanned completely. Some of them have been body scanned, and they fear that it is going to be used later on to be used as, props and as junior artists and junior actors on a large scale, and therefore their jobs are at stake. That is their worry at the moment. So AI seems to be not only affecting a lot of people, but
all of us.
Yeah, all of us. And one of my friends has also made an AI that can is still working on that AI project where that AI can actually write stories for newspapers as well as do scripts for this thing. I know, scaring you.
No bad omens. No bad omens here.
All right.
Anyway, let's shift our focus here. What is it that you would like to speak on next? I've got Tribunal dismisses AWOL soldier. Also, arms, ammunition seized in Manipur raids.
I think just what happened on Manipur, Kabir? Can you just because I was also
Manipur,
looking for more on
There
Manipur.
was a little reaction that came across from the Chief Minister in Biren Singh as well. Heavily politicized over the weekend. You know, I came across several other interviews that you know, other news channels had done. One you know, of the Wire specifically, where a former you know, SP, female top cop, categorically said on record that N. Biren Singh is not trying to curb narco terror in you know, and narcotics in Manipur. He's part of it.
Okay. That's a big allegation.
That is certainly
a huge allegation.
I'm not going to deny it. It is certainly a huge allegation, but that's what she said. And right now, the news on the ground, it seems like, is weapons, ammunition and explosives were seized during search operations in 5 districts of Manipur as security agencies went into an overdrive against the backdrop of militant outfits calling for a boycott of Independence Day celebrations. Independence Day celebrations. I told you, Varghese, that already security has been beefed up in Manipur tenfold, pretty much. How much I've read about Manipur's security being beefed up, I haven't read that much about the national capital's security being beefed up at the moment. There is a reaction that has come across from the Chief Minister N. Biren Singh. People who are with us on the stream right now, they can get down in the comment sections and help us know what they thought about this particular reaction coming from the Chief Minister, because you know, it's important that we try and read between the lines, and this is something that has been going on for the longest time. Let's play out Chief Minister N. Biren Singh's bite that came in.
At the best possible way to restore peace in the state of Manipur.
Without knowing the genesis of the opposition party, whoever comes from Delhi down, has been accusing you in order to...
That is opposition duty.
Very minimalistic.
I just saw that it's just to the point. And
but do you blame him? Do you blame him for not talking to the media as much? I mean, he is a
I think he is at the moment a person who is facing a lot of pressures, especially he's got pressure to restore law and order. There is pressure from his own community on how to deal with the situation, and he doesn't want to speak out because already the blame game has been that law and order has failed in Manipur, and it is failed in Manipur. And plus there are several other issues also that have been raised with regard to him continuing as the CM. So I think he would be quite tight-lipped when it comes to it, and only very little would the speech part of it come. But again, there's another something of a big story that's come from Manipur, and it's there in the Hindu. Manipur officials told to quit social media groups. With the bureaucracy and police split on ethnic lines, government says members of groups that further separatist, anti-national, communal and divisive agendas will invite disciplinary action. Amid reports that the
What social media groups are these?
I mean, just quit social media groups that are there which talk about, you know, separate administration, or, you know, that are favorable to Metis, or try to say split from India, or create, you know, split Manipur into 2, all those kind of things. So this is basically saying that the forces have been split on ethnic lines, and the bureaucracy of the government in Manipur has also been split on ethnic lines. So amid reports that the bureaucracy and the police are split on ethnic lines in Manipur, the state government has asked officials to quit formal and informal groups on social media platforms that further these agendas. The government has sought compliance report from all the departments. You know, that is like basically asking a person to just get out of all his social media handles.
Take a look at the weaponry they've seized, Varghese. I mean, the visuals we're playing out. Take a look at the weaponry, the arms that have been seized in. It's dangerous, and why I say this is because this is ahead of the Independence Day celebrations, and the Ultras is, you know, called to boycott the Independence Day celebrations. Explosives as well. Those are grenades that you can see. Those are mortar rifles that you can see. Sophisticated weaponry. And it's no news that, you know, people in Manipur right now, the warring sides have sophisticated weaponry, but another raid right ahead of Independence Day with a huge call to, you know, boycott Independence Day celebrations. Security has been beefed up in Manipur. Just seems like it's pointing in the wrong direction.
I worry about Manipur right now, because the fact remains is that, you know, we've been talking about Manipur violence every day, Kabir. Every day we have something to speak about Manipur violence, which means, see, speaking something positive about Manipur every day is fine, but we have been almost 3+ months that we've been talking about Manipur, and we are yet to find out a solution for this. And the government is also now groping in the dark when it comes to it, because you saw how the situation played out in the parliament.
It says the general strike is from 1 a.m. till 6:30 p.m. on the 15th of August, that's tomorrow, on Independence Day. So from 1 a.m., that means tonight, 1 a.m. Till tomorrow, 15th August evening, 6:30 p.m. with essential services like medical, electricity, water supply, fire service, media and religious observances exempted, there is going to be a strike. This is by the CORCOM, the Coordination Committee, a conglomerate of Manipur's major armed militant groups, has routinely called for a general strike and boycott of all Independence Day events. The general strike is from, like I said, from 1 a.m. tonight till 6:30 p.m. tomorrow, Independence Day evening. The last 4 or 5 days have been relatively peaceful, but there may be a last-minute attempt ahead of I-Day celebrations by some groups to storm areas of other ethnic groups. Police are on high alert in Kangpokpi, Churachandpur, Bishnupur and Imphal West, based on specific inputs about possible such attempts, says a source in the security establishment.
Also, Kabir, let me bring you one small statistic that the Hindu has put out.
Right.
The status report confirmed in 82 cases, okay, in 82 cases involving murder, rape, gang rape and assault or criminal force against women to outrage their modesty, only 16 arrests have been made and statements of 193 witnesses recorded. Similarly, in 4,454 cases of arson, looting and destruction of house property, 14 arrests have been made and 1,366 witness statements recorded. In 46 cases of destruction of places of worship, 10 witnesses have recorded their statements, but no arrests made till July 30. Now, this is really disturbing statistics that we are looking at.
But what
this
do you
shows
do?
the slow progress of what's happening.
What do you do when the police is fighting with the army, that there is law and order situation is completely collapsing? You don't know whether you can trust the administration or the ruling dispensation. What do you do? What do you do?
You require the Supreme Court of India to tell you what you are supposed to do on the ground.
How do you expect swift justice when nothing is happening?
See, the armed forces are there, you're not cooperating with the armed forces. The paramilitary forces are there, you're not cooperating with them. You have problems with another paramilitary force that is already there. How are you trying to go ahead with your cases? If these paramilitary forces are able to bring in, you cooperate with them and bring in sense of order, then you are free to go ahead and investigate what exactly happened. And this statistics is really disturbing. This shows that the investigation is very, very slow.
Well, let's hope that no untoward incident happens during Independence Day celebrations in the national capital or in Manipur, even as security has been beefed up, and that's pretty much all I'm picking up. But then again, that particular reaction coming in from Viren Singh, he's saying everything is being done to restore peace. Is it mere lip service, or is there work that's actually been done on the ground? That's, I think, is the bigger question that one needs to ask. Again, hoping for safe Independence Day celebrations to be carried out in Manipur this time around. Shifting our focus here, ladies and gentlemen, going to, well, Maharashtra, Thane, where 28, beg your pardon, in the last 24 hours, 18 people have died. People are alleging it to be negligence. This is a hospital in Thane, ladies and gentlemen, and it is quite surreal, isn't it, Varghese, that 18 people dead in 24 hours, not ailing from the same disease. Just again, very fishy and very suspicious. And some visuals that are coming across from that hospital, where 18 people, mind you again, 18 people, 18 deaths in the last 24 hours at a Thane hospital, even as the government has ordered a probe. Maharashtra Minister for Women and Child Healthcare, Aditi Tatkare, visited the hospital, right after she got news about it. And the Maharashtra government has ordered a probe. But medical expert with us on the panel, Varghese, well, what do you think? What do you say?
I'm just reading some of those this thing, and the Hindustan Times has also covered it. What they're saying is that out of the 18, 13 of them were in the intensive care unit.
Okay.
All right. And the deaths came, at least 18 patients died in the last 24 hours at Thane Municipal Corporation.
So the demographics are that out of the 18, 10 were, females, 8 were male. Nearly 70% of these 18 people were above the age of 50. And what you're telling us, how many were in the intensive care unit? 13 of them.
13 were there in the intensive care unit. And he's ordered a probe by a 5-member committee, all right? And
this is the Chief Minister,
Eknath Shinde.
Right.
In March this year, Chief Minister Eknath Shinde suspended Hospital Dean Dr. Yogesh Sharma and his deputy, Dr. Sujit Kumar Kamdekar, after resident doctors complained about poor facilities at their hospitals. Some of the patients have died, were already receiving treatment for various ailments, including chronic kidney diseases, pneumonia, kerosene poisoning, and road accident and other reasons. That is why clinical investigation is important to determine what treatment they had received earlier. So they want to understand clinically where the entire issue was, and also from the visual that we had, it just shows that the kind of poor infrastructure that was there inside, and facilities also. Allegations of negligence leveled by some kin is a serious matter which the probe committee will look into, the civic body chief said. The entire COVID staff of 500 has been shifted to this hospital, and the additional nursing staff has been appointed. We are also aiming to have round-the-clock post-mortem facility as well. So, the administration waking up late, it took 18 lives to be destroyed before they in fact woke up and decided to do something about it. Meanwhile, of course, there are criticisms coming in. National Congress Party Patriarch Sharad Pawar called the deaths heartbreaking. NCP legislator from Kalwa Mumbra Assembly constituency Jitendra Awad, who had raised the issue of 5 deaths in the hospital on Thursday, on Sunday accused the hospital of municipal administration of mismanagement. So what is it? Is it that it's mismanagement, it is negligence, or lack of facilities? What is it happening? Well, we'll have to wait for that 5-member probe team to actually find out what exactly happened at that corporation hospital.
Well, all right. Again, our hearts and prayers go out to the families and loved ones of the 18 people who lost their lives. Meanwhile, let's hope that the government and this particular panel that's going to now probe this case of alleged negligence can get to the bottom of the case and bring out the truth. And because people should find out that this is the government hospital, 18 people can't die in 24 hours. That speaks volumes about the healthcare service.
Unless you have a pandemic kind of a situation where, we saw during COVID times when we saw that kind of a situation. But then these were suffering from different ailments, as you had pointed out.
All right, shifting our focus, the Tribune with me here, Varghese, on the front page, a little bit of a mixture of news, and that's why we carry out, this particular show. Today's page 1, the idea is to look at all the newspapers and bring you a perspective, a holistic perspective of exactly, what's happening in the country, and of course, international news as well. As I read, there's a photo of Vladimir Putin. He says Russian shelling kills 7 in Kherson. Again, people are not even batting an eyelid on how many, missiles and, bombs are being dropped in this Ukraine-Russia, conflict. Again, very disheartening and saddening to see. But on the front page here, it says rain, landslips ravage Himachal. We've got visuals as well. It's a cloudburst that happened in Himachal Pradesh. Shimla, Bilaspur, worst affected. Almost 500 roads. You can't traverse on at least 500 roads in Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand. Even as Himachal Pradesh faced a cloudburst, Uttarakhand is completely flooded. 90% excess precipitation in the last 3 days, and we've seen what happened in Manali, in Old Manali, in various places of Manikaran. River Beas really reclaiming its space back again. Is that what's happening again? Weathermen predict more showers to come.
Kabir, I don't know whether it is because of climate change, but it is being said that the eastern regions are becoming a little drier and the western regions of the country are becoming more wetter when it comes to the rain that is being seen. And most of the places, they have actually seen cloudbursts as well. And we did see excessive rain only recently in Himachal and the state that we saw how the roads were being completely washed away, and how the situation also was there in certain parts of Uttarakhand as well. But that is also a worrying feature now. Is it because of climate change that we are seeing something like this? And meanwhile, as you were saying that, I was actually going through one article, since you were talking about the weather as well. There is an article that I think it's from the Hindustan Times. Yes. despite all the rain,
destruction again, Varghese.
Yeah, this is the kind. Oh yes, this is the kind of destruction that we are seeing. In fact, this is it shows how these are actually very small streams, and when it
Chamoli in Uttarakhand. So people should again, stop venturing out. There are so many people who said that, now that the weather is not as inclement as it was before, people can actually head out, go for their tourist jaunts. But again, the roads are completely done for.
Look how this looks like a landslide, and it has cracked open the road completely. There, we can see have more visuals out over there. These visuals, in fact, show how the entire, especially when it comes to the hilly area, the water tends to erode the top layer of the soil, and which is the loose soil, and they have this kind of a concrete mixture. There, some more visuals coming in. This is from Mandi in Himachal Pradesh. You can see the raging river in that visual. It just looks like a redux of what we saw almost 1.5 months ago.
It's like Mother Nature wasn't done with her, putting her band-aid. And this is Mother Nature fixing herself up once again.
This visual just shows how powerful that river is flowing right now, and you can see the buildings very close to its banks.
Again, makes you think the same thing, that you've encroached upon Mother Nature's space, and this is just Mother Nature reclaiming all of her space back again.
But interestingly enough,
can you do something about it?
We can't do anything about it. Also interestingly about it is this, Kabir, that despite all the rains that we see, the kind of the rivers swelling up, 2% rain deficit in country as El Nino drags the monsoons. Large parts witness deficit is what is being said. So which are the areas where we saw large deficiency? We have a deficiency in Punjab, we have deficiency in Rajasthan, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Kerala. Large deficiency is what we say, and in certain places, I mean, the only places where normal rainfall is being said is that it's in Uttarakhand, it's in Jharkhand, Uttar Pradesh, Odisha, and all the the 6 northeastern states except Arunachal Pradesh, where excess rain has been reported in Bihar, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu.
Take a look at that, Tamil Nadu. You said Tamil Nadu. Take a look at the shots coming in from Chennai.
Chennai is having a huge waterlogging issue.
So the greater Chennai Municipal Corporation and the pumps are again going to be out.
Yes, they'll have to pump the water out. They've been saying that they have resolved the problem, but it doesn't seem. Every time it rains in
from
Chennai,
various
it becomes heavy
layouts, it's going to start pumping that water out again, and traffic will again become a problem in Chennai. Just to round this particular segment off, water has risen in the Bhakra, Nangal, and the Bhakra floodgates were opened with water level rising due to continuous heavy rain. The floodgates of the Bhakra dam were opened. This is 41,800 cusecs of water that has been released from Bhakra Nangal. 621 roads that have been closed overall. Chakki mode has been shut. This is on the Parvanu Dharampur section of the Chandigarh Shimla highway. Red alert in 6th Uttarakhand district, ladies and gentlemen, and losses cross 7,000 crore mark. The total loss due to heavy rain has crossed the 7,000 crore rupee mark in the state. The figure stood at 7,020 on Sunday evening. The Public Works Department has suffered the maximum damage, followed by the Jal Shakti Vibhag, even as they put out a picture of a bus that got damaged after a tree. An entire tree fell on it amid rain in Shimla. So that's the situation right now in the hills. Of course, we will bring you a full-blown show on it at 11 a.m. today, talking to some experts, again talking about how it's so contradictory. You've got large places with less rainfall, less smaller areas with more expansive rainfall, the El Nino aspect that Varghese was just talking about, and how the eastern side is getting lesser than the western, vice versa.
Eastern side is getting, in fact, more than the western side, which traditionally used to. So El Nino effect is clearly seen right now.
All right, let's shift our focus, and it seems like we'll have to go back to Manipur, because I've just received a little update, and it's important that we share this with the viewers as well. And Varghese, to you. So Zoramthanga, Mizoram Chief Minister, Zoramthanga recounts the 1966 Indian Air Force bombing of Mizoram. The 1966 Indian Air Force bombing is something that not a red letter day in our history, certainly. It's for the first time, when the Air Force, turned on its own people. Something that, I think the Prime Minister also quoted in the Parliament. Now, Chief Minister Zoramthanga has affirmed on Sunday the veracity of a historical event wherein IAF warplanes bombarded the hill state in the northeast in 1966, which is 5 days after the Mizo National Party declared independence from India. So this is a report that is on the Times of India's electronic copy. It says Chief Minister Zoramthanga, he's recounted the 1966 Indian Air Force bombing in Mizoram. Now his disclosures follow a statement in the Parliament by the Prime Minister, like I said, Narendra Modi, who said aerial bombardment had occurred in Mizoram and the operation was carried out by the Congress government led by the then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi on the 5th of March in 1966. I think he went on to say that that was the only time when the Indian Air Force dropped bombs on Indians, on its own people. Now, Zoramthanga, a former underground leader of the MNF, acknowledged that the events recounted by Modi were indeed accurate. At the time, Mizoram was a district of Assam with its administrative headquarters in Shillong. Now, the Chief Minister emphasized that the tumultuous period of 1966 marked a unique instance of the Indian Air Force employing its force against its own citizens within the country. He also recalled the devastation inflicted upon the main marketplace, Daurpui, in Aizawl. So, just a little facet. Your 2 cents on that, Varghese?
Well, Zoramthanga, there were rumors about such an incident happening, and when the Prime Minister spoke about it...
Mind you, the MNF backed the Congress's no-trust motion.
See, that's what I'm saying. Politics has makes different...
just to confuse you,
makes strange,
over there.
Makes strange
if you weren't already.
Politics does make strange bedfellows, and they did back they were out of the NDA side and on this, and now we have Zoramthanga coming in and saying that what the Prime Minister said on that, that you bombed your own citizens under a Congress government in 1966, IAF, this thing. Well, there were rumors about it, and probably it was a very shielded event as well. But it has been also said that the attacks were actually against the rebel groups who had declared independence from India as well. So how much of that should be that? I think there's a lot of historical digging out to be done to actually find out what exactly happened during that time, and why was the IAF in fact deployed at that time when MNF, which was also in the at that time in the forefront of that so-called struggle, and it took some time before we could.
We will need a history lesson on that, but
yeah, it's a huge history lesson.
It was to battle insurgency, and Indian Air Force was used
because Northeast had a history of insurgency at that time.
Mizoram, I think, also looking ahead to assembly elections.
And
that is something that one has to look at as well. Zoramthanga, how the MNF has played its card with the Manipur violence, with the N. Biren Singh's moves, how Mizoram has catered to the Kukizo community and vice versa. It does get a little confusing, and on top of that, the MNF backing the no trust vote in the government, in the Parliament. But that is something we're going to have to wait and find out. Meanwhile, there's the Sharad Pawar story that we'd like to do, but Hawaii. Let's quickly touch upon Hawaii really quickly, because once we're talking about the cloudburst and the rain pain in Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand and across several parts of India, let's take a look at what's happening in Hawaii. The death toll is about to cross the 100 mark. That is what we're learning. There are cars that have completely been burnt. Houses have been burnt. It's the grim job of all the rescue personnel who are going to these from vehicle to vehicle, from charred houses to gutted buildings, to take a look at if there are any dead bodies inside. Rescue dogs, cadaver dogs, they're on the ground, and this is the sight right now. Take a look at that, Varghese. Look at the charred up cars. That's the situation right now. 93 people dead on record, but officials are saying it could be much more than 100. These are the Hawaiian wildfires.
This is, in fact, more shockingly is the manner in which the fire spread to a large area. And of course, there are these flammable material that was also available on the ground. They did not, in fact, try to stop the flames from spreading in certain areas, but that was very difficult because certain areas had a lot of these houses that are made of wood, and it used to catch from one to the other. Other than the only option to flee, nobody had any options to actually stop it. But again, the big question asked over here is that it's been considered as an emergency in the United States. Biden has asked for all hands on deck to ensure that some kind of mitigation of this can be happened. But the scale of the destruction is what has surprised many people because it is being said, Hawaii, of course, we know it is supposed to be this tropical sunny, paradise for most of the United States people. They come to Hawaii for holidays, and this kind of destruction that we in fact see just speaks about the volume of how bad that fire was.
I'm going through a Washington Post live blog on the internet. It says search and rescue is completely arduous in Maui, where the maximum brunt of destruction is being felt, where the wildfires have in fact killed 93 people. Look at the cars, Varghese. It looks like straight out of ruins of a warlike scenario. You'd never know this is a wildfire that has led to something like this. Locating human remains, beg your pardon. Locating human remains has been a slow and arduous process in Maui, where at least 93 people have died in blazes that tore through the island. The deadliest United States wildfires in more than a century. The ground still has hot spots. Well, we're also going to talk about this.
In fact, they just show the
at 11:30 today, we're going to do an expansive show again, bring on experts, voices from the United States again, even as these rescue operations that we're taking a look at. Look at that, Varghese. The smoke that is generating from it, from the wildfire.
And it's
how do you douse such a huge fire? That's the bigger question.
It's a very big question. They've been trying to aerially douse it. They've been trying to do it, but they have been unable to carry on with it as effectively as possible because the fire had gone out of control to a large extent.
All right, shifting our focus here, ladies and gentlemen. 11:30, we attempt a proper story on the Hawaiian wildfires. Do tune in to News 9 at 11:30 a.m. today. Also, of course, taking a look at Senior Pawar's information. Some well-wishers, quote unquote well-wishers. Who are these well-wishers, Varghese? If you could, do you want to take a guess? Some well-wishers want me to go with the Bharatiya Janata Party. Firstly,
it could be from the family.
Firstly, the enigma of Sharad Pawar. You don't know what the man is going to do. Friend of all, confidant of none. On the other hand, do you see him ever joining the Bharatiya Janata Party? And number three, who do you think these well-wishers are? And then we'll
the headline that you had in fact raised was interesting. What was the headline that was?
Some well-wishers want me to go with BJP, says Sharad Pawar, but won't do it. Nothing secret in meeting Ajit, but won't do it again.
Yes, because the headline that came onto your side was actually the headline that was there, and other people saying that no chances of NCP aligning with BJP. So it depends upon which part of the thing that you wanted to take. So if you highlight the other things, we know that there is talk going on saying that why don't you go ahead with the BJP? But then someone who highlights this headline saying that
read
you're
the excerpt
not going to be part of
it. Because the visuals that we're seeing, this is where the Prime Minister,
this is where both of them
you can see Ajit Pawar on the extreme left and Sharad Pawar towards the right. You can see the Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis and Eknath Shinde on the left side, and the Prime Minister in the center, and then you've got Ajit Pawar on the other side. So power on either side, left power or right power, doesn't matter.
There have been many instances where senior leaders of the NCP who had walked with Ajit Pawar meeting Sharad Pawar and asking to, in fact, remember just before the opposition meet also they held a meeting with Sharad Pawar asking him to let them go ahead with the NCP going ahead with the BJP in terms of the alliance. So that has been going on for quite some time, but I think he's talking about the well-wishers, of course, is from his family itself.
NCP Chief Sharad Pawar on Sunday,
some of those people whose careers he's been able to mentor and build.
What you mean, Ajit Pawar?
No, Ajit Pawar is from the family. There are other NCP leaders also who he has mentored and he's helped them build their careers as well.
NCP Chief Sharad Pawar on Sunday reiterated that his party will never go with the BJP at any stage. BJP's ideology does not suit us. Pawar told reporters at Sangola in Solapur district a few minutes after he shared the dais with Maharashtra Deputy Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis. This at the unveiling of a statue of peasants and workers party leader and late Ganpat Rao Deshmukh. He says, some of us, bracket Ajit Pawar led NCP group, some of us have taken a different stand. Some of our well-wishers are trying to see if there can be any change in our stand. That is why they are trying to have a cordial discussion with us. Pawar says this is quoted by PTI as saying without taking names. Asked about the prevailing confusion about NCP's grassroots workers amid his secret meeting with nephew Ajit Pawar, who has joined the Shinde Fadnavis government, is now the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra. Pawar insisted that there was nothing secret about his meeting with Ajit Pawar. Ajit Pawar is my nephew, and in the Pawar family, I am a father figure now. The meeting between me and someone from my family should not be an issue. He said there wasn't any confusion at the grassroots level either. Whenever, quoting him, whenever there arises a situation of voting on the floor of the State Assembly, we, the NCP, will take an appropriate decision.
So I think we should come to a point where we need to see that voting on the floor of the House and Assembly. So then we'll understand the kind of actual fracture that the NCP is. Right now there's no voting situation that has come in, and because of that I think we are still yet to understand, because there are people who are still fence-sitters in the NCP. We don't know whether they are exactly in the senior Pawar's faction or in Ajit Pawar's faction, but they do attend the meetings like that. So let us see how we can understand if there is some kind of a voting pattern that might come in the Assembly election. The Assembly in Maharashtra, then we will understand as to where the MLAs and how many each faction will have. But insiders have been saying that a certain section of the NCP has told Pawar that they cannot go ahead with joining with the BJP because it would dilute the ideology of the party. And Ajit Pawar, meanwhile, is said to be the man who said, let's keep it practical. So that argument between some close quarters within the NCP is what led to the split, is what some are also saying.
All right. We'll have to shift our focus really quickly to some other news that we must bring to the fore as well. We've heard about consulates being attacked. We've heard about people being attacked. We've heard about Hindus being attacked by Khalistani forces. But another Hindu that has been attacked in Canada.
Temple has been vandalized.
Do we have specific information about that?
Yeah, a prominent Hindu temple in Canada was vandalized on Saturday with anti-India and pro-Khalistan posters being put up on its front and rear gates. The latest in a series of such incidents that have taken place in British Columbia region. The posters were pasted at Lakshmi Narayan Mandir in Surrey in the early hours of Saturday and subsequently removed after being discovered in the morning, the temple management said. Satish Kumar, president of the temple board, expressed shock at the incident. We never expected something like this, Kumar said, adding that the matter has been reported to the Surrey Detachment of Royal Canadian Mounted Police. CCTV footage captured by the security cameras on temple premises purportedly showed two mask-clad people behind the desecration.
Is there more that the Canadian government now needs to do?
See, Canadian government,
that these kind of incidents are now mounting.
The worry is this, Kabir. Canada's official policy with India, of course, is of a friendly nature.
Right.
But they have a huge
That's what they all say, right?
They all say, yeah. But there's a huge pressure group of Sikhs who have left the country and who have pro-Khalistani ideology. What they have done is they have settled down in Canada. They have, of course, successful. They have become part of the Canadian government, and this pressure group is now probably pressurizing the official Canadian government, and in the future, if it continues, it could derail the India-Canadian ties to a point of no return, because once they become established, especially with Khalistan sympathies, they have been trying to push their agenda through the Canadian government, and that is a cause of concern right now. Because for me, the question would be that you have given up the citizenship of the country. You have, your children are Canadians now. You're not talking about the interests of Canada. You're talking about the interests of a region that you have actually given up.
This is what the poster says. The poster has, again, I think Nijjar's photograph on it. You remember Nijjar, the Khalistan Tiger Forces, KTF's leader, who was assassinated on the 18th of June. let's not forget. So the poster says Khalistan referendum, Shaheed Jathedar Hardeep Singh Nijjar, I beg your pardon, it's a really small photograph. Canada, investigate India's role in 18th June assassination. These are big allegations, number one. Number two, now what do you think the Canadian government should come in support and
see, the Canadian
security of the Indian nationals over there?
See, the Canadian government is caught.
And let's not forget, the Saturday's incident is going to be the fourth such incident to take place on Hindu temples this year alone. 2023 is the fourth attack on Hindu temples. Do you think something like that is going to fly here back on home turf?
See, the question is, our historical problems are now being reflected in our diaspora. And when it comes to the Khalistani movement, a lot of them who were pro-Khalistanis did move out of the country. Now, the problem is, Canada gave them shelter. They actually moved to Canada. And these elements, these extremist elements who have been talking about trying to carve a Khalistan, they in fact went ahead and tried to in fact also bring in some kind of referendum, so-called.
Right.
This thing. You remember all that drama that was in fact carried out?
There are videos also, Varghese. There are videos, of course, which we can't, broadcast saying our own, of course. They're on X, on Instagram as well. You can see people who've covered their face completely, who come to this prominent temple, and they have put up these particular posters. And the posters and what the poster describes, I've already, put forth. Another Hindu temple vandalized in Canada by Khalistan extremists. Posters put at door of Sari Mandir to create fear among the Indian community. Sari Mandir has their own Twitter page as well, and all spam material on that. Yes. So let's not go over there.
All right, Kabir, I think the Canadian government should first ask them, are they Canadians first or Khalistanis first? If they have to ask that big question, because they are acting in the interests of Khalistan, which means they are not acting in the interests of Canada. And therefore, does Canada, or rather Canada, can it afford derailing its relationship with the fifth largest economy of the world? So if they are ready to derail that relationship and they want to in fact go with an agenda of a group of people whose only intention is to create trouble in this part of the world, then they have to in fact call out on them and ask them whether they have come to Canada with a political agenda trying to state capture Canada's institution for vetting their own agendas. If that is the pushing out their own agenda, if that is the situation, they need to in fact find out what exactly these people who claim to be Canadians are doing on their soil.
Right. Taking a look at Independence Day security that has been tightened in the national capital. I was taking a look. Yeah, well, here you go. Very quickly, just taking you through the information. There have been certain red flags. Now, the red flags are that, some areas of parking and some places of, places like malls, etc. The security guards aren't really doing their job. That's not top notch. But more importantly, near Red Fort, focus on protests regarding Manipur. There are several areas that agencies have now said that, this area can be prone to an ultras protest on Manipur. So that is something that has been flagged. But apart from that, technology, ladies and gentlemen, in the national capital, take a look at that. Tech men on the ground to keep Delhi secure. Capital on high alert. Over 10,000 police personnel to be guarding the streets. Anti-drone systems have been deployed. Red Fort area to be a no-fly zone on the 15th of August during the Prime Minister's presence. So if you've got a drone of your own and you're trying to catch that really nice aerial shot, you won't be able to do it because it won't be allowed. Patrolling has been intensified and anti-sabotage checks are being conducted throughout, the NCR area. Commandos have been deployed at vulnerable places, including markets, metro stations, marketplaces, and airports. We'll give out this information even as we're, playing out some information and visuals of the rehearsals. If you've got that, I'm going to request the control room, please put them on air. Meanwhile, Special Protection Group has taken over the control of the Red Fort premises. Just like those movies like Olympus Has Fallen and, the White House, the Special Protection Group, the SPG, has taken over the Red Fort. So for the next 24 hours, the Red Fort is actually going to be a fortress. seems like a Hollywood, movie plot. Teams of the NSG, the SPG, CAPF and the Delhi police have been deployed to automatic facial recognition systems.
Yes, that's the part I wanted to invite. We were talking about AI. We were talking about AI, and the officer said that the artificial intelligence AI-based facial recognition system is also in place to keep a check on terror elements.
So and just like, with our own culture, even as around 300 buildings have been identified where spotters will be deployed with binoculars, straight out of a sniper movie. But more importantly, kite catchers have also been deployed near the Red Fort, Varghese, because patang pakadna bhi काफ़ी जोखिम का काम हो सकता है. It does lead to a lot of dangerous activities. I've seen people falling from their roofs, but more importantly, they shouldn't come in the middle of, our security process. So tech and men on the ground to keep the national capital secure. It seems like we've covered up pretty much all that we had to. There was a shooting that took place in Gwadar as well. Chinese engineers were killed in Gwadar, and the Baloch Liberation Army, they've said that 2 people sacrificed their lives. They put out pictures also of both the people. There you have it, some information for you, ladies and gentlemen, on your screens. Chinese engineers that were attacked in Gwadar. What was all of that about?
See, Gwadar is a strategic port that the Pakistanis have been trying to build, and we have a similar port parallelly that is being built in Iran as well. So, but the thing about Gwadar port is that it is an attempt by China to circumnavigate through, the shipments coming in from the Middle East, mostly oil and let their goods go through this route. Otherwise, they have to go through the long Malacca Straits. They have to go around India. So it's basically to circumnavigate India and move straight away into China through a road route. So the goods can come through Gwadar port. From Gwadar, it can.
Why kill the Chinese engineers then?
No, the issue over here is Balochistan. The issue about Balochistan, Balochis feel that the Pakistanis are making this project. Baluchis are not going to get anything of any sort of help from this project, or is not going to benefit them at all, and only their resources, their natural resources, and Balochistan is very rich in natural resources such as natural gas.
Seems like this is in India's interest, and something that we must take up on our other show. In India's interest, is going to make for a good debate.
It is going to make for a good debate on that, but the problem is now the entire idea of that infrastructure that China has been trying to build through their Belt and Road Initiative in Pakistan as well, that has come under a lot of problematic situation, especially in Balochistan, with the Balochi militants going ahead and targeting those infrastructure projects. So the Chinese don't feel safe while doing that project.
We'll take that up in our show In India's Interest. Varghese, many thanks for joining with us on today's Page 1. To all the viewers, many thanks for joining with us and help getting down in the comment section. This is Kabir Nakvi signing off. Do catch on to News 9 at 11 a.m. today for all the latest on the rain in Himachal, and 11:30 for what's happening in Hawaii as well. Many thanks. This is Kabir Nakvi signing off.
मैं इमरान अहमद खान नियाजी सबके दिल से हल्फ उठाता हूँ. When Imran Khan